You might be limiting yourself without even realizing it by making this one super common mistake. So many people who start out on a spiritual journey make the mistake of trying to feel, sense, or perceive by projecting their consciousness out of their body, normally without even realizing that they're doing it. But if you're not centered in your body, it's really hard to intentionally impact your reality and to feel like you're in alignment with time. And it's way harder to hold your boundaries with other people, their energies, their emotions, and all the worried stories about everything that's going on in the world today. A lot of people just assume that they're centered in their body, but have no idea that they're really not. So in this episode, we're discussing how to know whether you're really in your power center, which also happens to be the place where you can expand your intuition, receive clarity and knowingness, not to mention the place where you actually catalyze spiritual awakening.
I'd really love to understand what the importance of embodiment is.
Yeah.
I know that you and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of discussions in other areas about this, but it came to my awareness that not a lot of people understand, first of all, what is embodiment and why is it so crucial for us?
Yeah, and I think when you say embodiment, it means different things to different people, right? They're like, aren't I already embodied? Because, I'm in a body. I mean, isn't that embodiment?
Yeah.
And I think the distinction that we're making is, yes, of course, you're in a body and you see through your eyes and you experience the world. But there's also an extra layer that we talk about a lot called being present in your body. Okay. And and the reason that's important is because in order to really have influence over your physical reality, in order to really experience the higher level possibilities of the physical, like abundance through the physical, meaning on all levels, whether it's emotional, your body feels healthy, you experience material abundance, whether it's spiritual awakening through the body, whether you're experiencing higher and faster levels of manifestation, all of that requires that you're really present in your body. And I think there's a lot of confusion around that.
Yeah, because I think as well, being present in the body, a lot, well, not a lot, I mean, a lot of people that I've spoken to feel like, okay, if I just think I'm in the body, then I am.
Yeah.
Right. Which, I mean, I guess it's part of the process. I don't know. But my understanding of being present in the body is, well, for me anyways, it wasn't very comfortable.
Yes. Yeah, I resisted it too.
So I was wondering if we could move from maybe to the opposite. What is it like when you're not in the body?
Yeah, I think that's probably faster and easier for people to understand.
Right?
Okay.
And then come in.
Yeah, totally. And I would say that there's varying degrees of this. Okay. So my experience of not being present in the body was different from yours, let's just say. And I think we're both going to talk about our own experiences so people have an understanding of what like the spectrum can look like a little bit. So for me, when I wasn't very present in the body, often it was because I was up in my head worried about the future. Okay. So I was doing all these what ifs and if I don't do this, this will fail and I'll lose that and that kind of worry. Like, oh my God, this is going to happen and all the what ifs. Okay. So that was one way that I wouldn't be really present in my body because I was up in my head in a future possibility that didn't exist.
Yes.
Okay. I think everyone can kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
And from a spiritual perspective, what I would do because I was intuitive, right? To a much lesser degree than I am now, but I kind of was, I could feel what other people were feeling. I might not be able to label it. I could sense things that were not really seen or other people didn't really know about, but I kind of knew they were there, even though I wouldn't necessarily be able to describe it.
Yeah.
And so what I would do to clarify that, get a better sense of things is I would literally, instead of staying in my body, like keeping some kind of presence in my body, I would go towards the thing. Okay. So meaning I would, like if it was a person and they were feeling something and I was kind of curious about them or whatnot, I would, I'd entrain to their frequency, but it's almost like I was giving them a hug, like I kind of want to feel more what they were feeling. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but I would love to just maybe gain with a little bit of a microscope with that.
Sure.
One, right?
Good. Yeah.
So what do you mean that you would?
Yeah, I would project my conscious feeling, right? So let's just imagine the first time I really did this consciously.
Yes.
Okay. I was at a Dr. Donnie Epstein program. And so the way that a network spinal analysis or his advanced modalities work is that you get entrained together, meaning you're receiving his work in a group. Okay. So it's not like one person's receiving at a time. Yeah. So there's like, 4 or 5 chiropractic tables out and everyone's receiving in sort of like a sequence or whatever. And so I could feel that I was myself starting to like go into a mind spin of like, I am not accessing what all these other people are accessing. I don't know if I'm getting it. I was going to my own self-doubt, my own version of that. And for some reason, I had this thought or this awareness. I'm like, what if I just feel what they're feeling? Meaning I projected my consciousness, my feelingness to sense what it was that they were sensing, not going into their space, but just, getting like, almost like getting, as if I were walking up next to them and being like, what are you doing? Yeah. Kind of like that, but not in my body. Yes. And so I was sensing what it was that they were feeling and sort of like observing what it was they're experiencing because I didn't get it. And for some reason, when I projected my consciousness like that, I was like, oh, I kind of get what they're doing. Yeah. I can feel it better. I know that sounds strange, but I was like, oh, I can feel that better. Yeah. That was the first time I intentionally did it. Right. Or, for example, like if I was in like a meditation or something like this, where it was very profound or something was happening in the meditation, I wouldn't be aware of my body. I would I'd be completely immersed in the experience that I was having in the meditation, but I was totally not aware of my physicalness anymore. I was just in the experience. Yeah. And the deeper I could get into the experience, the more fun I thought I was having. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that's what I mean by I wasn't present in my body in those situations. I completely was like, chuck the body. And my awareness of it. And I'm just going to go like, be very fascinated by whatever else is happening that's outside of me. That was my experience of that. What's your experience of not staying in your body?
I don't think I was in my body for most of my early part of my life. Yeah. So it was hard for me to have a distinction until I came into the body properly.
Interesting. Okay.
So I would have described maybe the first part of my life was really detached is a word I would use. There was like this physical part and then there was this other part of me that was much nicer to be in this part. It was like being kind of in a movie. You had all the players around you and you could just, I could just kind of cut off from them. And I would imagine or feel things or see things because I could as a kid. So I would see things and I would stay there. Oh, look at the aura around that person. Wow, lovely color. That's really lovely. Wow. Oh, wow. Look at it changing. Wow. There was nobody.
Right.
But I thought there was.
Okay.
I didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure that's why I went through what I went through. You need to come into your body. It's here or you're going to lose it.
Yes, exactly. And you went through like a different kind of, I don't think we need to go into detail, but like a physical health crisis and different kinds of things like this. Yeah.
And it was painful coming back in. I imagine that when somebody has a crash or has an accident or like on a running track when they're running and they're in a race, it's like the Olympics and they slash their muscle with the spikes or something. Yeah. They don't feel anything. Run. Yeah. And then they stop and suddenly this searing pain comes in. Yeah. So for me, that was a bit of an experience. And I didn't know that I could access that fantastical other world from being in the body. Yeah. So I was still kind of, I don't like this. Oh, let's go there.
Yeah, because it's more expensive.
Yeah, it's more expansive. I didn't have to feel the pain and uncomfortableness. Yeah. And I could feel this lovely softness. Yeah. But then coming back in the body was like,
yeah.
Or I would disappear off with music. Yeah. Anything that would just take me away.
Yes. I used to do that a lot with either daydreaming. Yeah. Or
It's a big one.
It's a big one. I would lose time. You know, not that it necessarily is a bad thing, but I was just like, well, I've been off in daydream land for, I don't know, like almost half an hour now. Yeah. And I'm like, where did I go? Yeah.
And I think that is the why social media is dangerous. Yes. It's not so much that what's printed there and what's said. I mean, our brains are intellectualizing enough to know that that's nonsense.
Yeah, yeah.
But we was just getting lost in all this next story.
Yeah,
next story.
yeah.
Before you know it, an hour's gone.
Yeah.
And where was I? Oh, it wasn't in my body.
No, not at all. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think being able to come back into the body and learn to access it from the body has felt so much more powerful to me than coming out of the body and trying to be in that floatiness of life.
Yeah.
Where things are happening to you.
Yeah.
And instead of being in and you're creating it.
Exactly. You know? And I would say that too for manifestation. Mm-hmm. So for those of you out there who are manifesting, some of you will get lost in what it is that you're trying to manifest. You know, in the dream of what it is you're trying to manifest. And you be in the dream. You're like, there it is. It's happening. I'm having all the emotions. Yeah. I'm having all the emotions, the gratitude, the joy, the blah, blah, blah. But you've completely lost awareness of your physicalness. Yeah. And then you don't understand why it is you're not manifesting what you want in life. Now, there's a number of reasons for that, but one of the reasons is because in order to influence your physical reality with what it is you want to manifest, you actually must be manifesting or co-creating from the 0 point of space and time, which is, you know, right here in the center of your physical body, right in the center of your solar plexus, and present in your body. And so if you don't know what the 0 point is, watch episode 151, the famous episode 151, centering into the 0 point. But you really need to be present in your body in order to have that influence in your physical body in this timeline. Because if not, you're in some future timeline that isn't existing for you.
Yeah, it's just not real.
Exactly. To begin to release the distortion patterns that keep you in unwitting resistance to being in your center, click on the link in the description below for your free group frequency calibration that's specific to this episode.
And I think it's really difficult. It's a difficult thing to describe.
Yes.
To come into the body because, as you say, you're either in the body fearful of some future that's going to happen. Yeah. Or you've never really felt in your body. So you're like, what do you mean? I'm in my body.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah. And it's really hard to describe that once you come in fully. Now, let's go there. Yeah. How do we do that? Yeah. How do we get these people, like me, my example, or like my kid that thinks he's in the body and then listens to music and an hour's gone past and he's done nothing what he said he was going to do. Yeah. And I literally have to go, hurry! Yeah. Or he'll say, I've noticed with him, he'll be like, oh yeah, I spaced out in the shower. Right? So if you're spacing out a lot for very long periods of time, then that's also another indication, for example, that you're not in your body. Now, we're talking about this really so you can sort of check yourself in your life and see if there's something here or somebody in your life that's doing this. So how do you know that you're in the body? Is that what your question was? How do we get into your body? How do we explain it to these people that it, you know, to go from there, that somewhere in there to here? Yeah. Because I remember the first time working with a teacher and he was like, and move to your elbow and move to your hand. It was the hardest thing. Yes. Like, what am I moving? Yeah, exactly. What am I moving to my elbow? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the fastest way to do it, I think, is to listen to a GFC, especially if you're not used to it. Because a lot of people I've noticed who are floaty, because, you know, this is how I used to be also, more floaty. It's harder for you to come into the center of the body because you've all this resistance to it. You're like, I don't like it. I don't like what I feel. It feels narrow and constrained and heavy and I don't like it, right? So you have this resistance to coming into the body. So if you have those distortion patterns running where you're resisting being in the body, then chances are you're not going to go in there. Right? Because you're like, this feels bad. So it's easier, I think, to listen to a group frequency calibration to release the distortion patterns around coming into your center, first of all, I would say. And then the second thing is to then intend to come into your center. So the centering into the 0 point GFC that I've given is really to release the resistance around it and then to bring you into your center over and over again. And the thing is, and I know this is probably going to sound irritating for some of you, it's practice because you're not used to it, right? You resisted at first. So, okay, now you've released the resistance. Wonderful. You come into the body and you're like, okay. And you have to kind of get used to it because at first, for some people, it will feel heavier and it will feel more dense because it's your body. It does vibrate slower. So I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's the nature of your body. And so if you're very used to like floating out of your body, you're like, oh, it's so expansive, you know, and it feels free. When you're in your body, it can feel like you're in a jail, right? But the thing is that when you come into your body, you can access the infinite from multiple ways. So actually, you can access the infinite within. So if you go
go deep enough, you'll go infinitely in, and then it will oddly become infinitely out. So it becomes everything infinite coming through the center of the body, which is more stable and also will impact your physical reality in a way that's really beautiful. So to answer your former question, the fastest way to do that would be to listen to the GFC on centering into the zero. And then to practice. So there's a number of ways that you can come into your 0 point, right? And the first that we talk about a lot is to be aware of your surroundings and then to triangulate, which is what I do in every single GFC that's on this podcast. So being aware of 3 inanimate objects in the space around you, aware of the distance between each object and you, and then feel that distance or be aware of that distance. So a lot of people will be like, I don't really see how that's doing anything. What it's forcing you to do is to be aware of your body in space.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really important because most of you who are floaty are not aware of your body anywhere.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think that is probably the greatest tool I've ever had. Because for me, not only does it pull me into my body if I feel myself slipping, and let me talk about that one as well.
Yeah.
The slip, because once coming into the body in the center point, feeling the power of that.
Exactly.
Because there's no power here.
No.
It's very flowy. It's very la 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 la.
Yeah. Yes.
Whatever's happening, I'm just going to get pulled along with the tide. Whereas this one is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
And I know I have the access point to wherever I want to take me and my body.
Yeah. So you're intentional about it.
Yeah. And I get charged by it. Like I get given energy by it, not depleted.
Yes.
So this triangulation for me also indicates my resistance to how much I want to be in the body. Because to sit and say, okay, there's a light there. How far away is that light from me? And to actually feel the distance. Like I imagine that I've got this arm and I have to extend it and pull it towards me. Now, when I'm not in my body, the resistance is like
massive.
That's too far. Oh my God.
Or you'll distract from it.
Yeah.
Not just you, but me. I'll just be like, oh, that's not that important. I'll do that later.
And it's like a switch that switches on. The minute I do by the third one, I'm feeling, I remember why I'm in the body.
Exactly. And I think that's the key thing I just want to emphasize again that you've said and I've said also is that when you are centered in your body, it has to do with power in the body. Yeah. And I don't mean power over anybody else. I mean your own power. And I don't mean like, I am so powerful. I mean, I guess it is that too. But it's like that's where your seat of your authority as co-creator is. And if you want to have influence on your physical reality, you must be sitting in your center. Yeah.
And I'd love to add for those people that are floaty. When I was floaty, I thought I knew spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
I had some insights and I saw stuff. But what's happened for me with being in here, in this center and fully in my body, is that I can feel stuff from like miles away.
Yeah.
And I can feel it coming.
Yeah.
It's like, like this, or I can feel this coming.
Yeah.
I could never do that
before.
Never.
Yeah.
So it like the gifts that are there, sitting waiting for us when we come into our body is incredible. But like you say, it's getting through that first
resistance.
It's like when you first start training.
Yeah.
You know, you want to get fit, and then you do your first 2 weeks, and your arms are killing you.
Exactly. But it's really beneficial. So for those of you who don't have a strong feeling sense, like a feeling, like I don't mean like physically with your arm or something like this, but I mean a feeling sense. So Fee has a really strong feeling sense. It's as strong as maybe even some of your physical senses, I would say. Yeah. And so for someone who doesn't feel, you're like, oh no, I don't feel those things because that's not my experience. Yeah. So if you're somebody who has physical sensation or someone who has knowingness, for example, but you go into self-doubt because you're like, did I make that up? Or is that a thought? Or I don't know what that is. Or maybe you see things or you hear things, whatever. When you come into your center, it clarifies. Yeah. And you start to be able to distinguish what's others and what's yours. If you should be paying attention to that or not. If it's something that you're like, wait a minute, why is something trying to like get me to come out of my center? Yeah. You're more aware of that, right? So you're more aware of the space that you occupy, the power that you have to co-create, all that sort of stuff. And I would say that for almost everybody I've spoken to, and of course I haven't spoken to everybody, but for the people I've spoken to, their sense of intuition heightens when they're centered in their body. Because a lot of people who are floaty think, oh, my intuition will get sharper the more I go out of my body. That's what I thought.
Same.
You know, I was like, if I just keep expanding here forever, ever into the multiverses, then my intuition is going to be like, I don't know what, off the charts. Exactly. But it's oddly sharper when you're centered in yourself. That's what I found. And the thing for me that I had to grapple with is that it changed. So my knowingness became different. So meaning I used to be somebody who saw a lot, right? So the information that I would receive was processed through images. And when I started to be anchored in my body, it shifted. And my resonance was also rising. So here I am more centered in myself. My resonance is rising. I actually lost my gift of seeing. And it scared the bejesus out of me because I was just like, because I was so used to what's happened. And I'm so used to having it and I would rely on it. So I was like, oh my God. It was like kind of, honestly, it was really a form of like spiritual blindness in a way because I was just like, I don't know what that is. But sometimes what will happen for some of you is that you will lose that thing that you relied on when you were floaty or your experience of that perception of the non-seen because you're reliant on it. And then it will either go away or change. And if it goes away, something else will come in to replace it that's more centered. So for me, it became more knowingness, which was totally terrifying for me because I was just like, there's no confirmation, right? You're just like, okay, I know that, but how do I know that? Is that true? I don't know. I need confirmation, help, right? Because for me, when I would see stuff, I'd be like, oh, I saw the image. I know exactly what it is and I know what it means. At least that's what I thought, right? And then when that went away, I was like, uh-oh.
What do I do now?
Exactly. So I'm just saying that because when you come into your body, things change. And it's not necessarily bad that they do. It's just that they are changing and they're clarifying. And it's interesting for me because sometimes I will now see imagery for certain people. But I know it's not mine. You know what I mean? It's changed now. And so, it's kind of spectacular what happens. And you have, for me, it was kind of scary almost to like stay centered all the time because I had to like surrender to a different kind of experience. I know it sounds weird, you know, but
And I think it's good to talk about that because it's a difficult topic, because you can't say to somebody, okay, stay centered in your body, be fully present in your body. Okay, tap your heel off the ground, right? I can feel my heel. There's certain tools you can use. Do the triangulation. But how do I know how do I know that I'm fully in my body? And I think by talking like this, we're indicating there's like a way of describing what it's like. You can't say specifically a thing.
No. Because I think it's different for everyone also.
It's different for everybody. But I would also say the one thing I really did notice was when I came fully present in my body, I no longer became a victim of stuff. That was so important to me. Because things were happening around me. And I wasn't kind of in charge or in control of any of it. I was always kind of like the victim of it. And I didn't have any authority. Like I knew there's this authority where you can say, I don't want beans with my toast.
So British. So British.
Exactly. There was no sort of self-authority. Like this is my boundary. You've crossed it. I know this is mine now. I know this is mine now. You can get out of my life. I didn't have any of that. When I came into my body, I felt grounded, and eventually I felt grounded, and I knew, don't push in. Don't push in on me. That's enough now. This is mine.
Totally. And it also, for me, it shifted my relationship with blame. Because the way that I learned things from my mom is that, and in her lineage, it was a lot about blaming others. And so it was something that when I came into my center, I was like, I realized, like you said, my own authority. And I was like, wait a minute, if I'm creating this and this is all a reflection of me, it can't be their fault. And it was blame, and also like my, at the time, desire to make everyone around me a certain way because I love them, right? So my way of expressing love was I want you to be happy, and I obviously know the correct way for you to be happy. So if you follow all my suggestions, which weren't suggestions, they were more like commands, then maybe you'll be happy, right? Right. And then I realized, oh wait a minute. If this authority is mine, that means that they have their own authority. And it's really disrespectful for me to push into their space. So all that sort of stuff starts to clarify, at least it did for me, when I started to really be in the 0 point, in the center of myself and in time.
That for me is so true as well. Rings so true, because I remember the very day that it happened, because there's a I think I would describe it like there's a moment where there's an understanding to surrender everything else except this.
Yeah, exactly.
And no matter what happens around me, I have this.
Yes, this connection. You mean to the center.
Connection to my center, to pure source, because the more I'm in, I can feel the pure source stronger, connection to pure source, and everybody around me. Right? That's on a good day. But I remember a moment when I realized, oh, okay, I can't hang on to anything except this.
Yeah.
And it was stupendous. It was in the kitchen in Ireland, and I remember I had to let my kid do what he wanted to do. I was hanging on tight to him because he had a heart issue. Yeah. Hanging on tight. Don't jump there. Don't run there. What? Yeah. And suddenly it hit me. I was like, oh my God, if he was to die tomorrow, God forbid, he would have had the most horrendous childhood because his mother was like, right? Because I was concerned. And then I remember doing the triangulation, coming into my body and feeling life force and thinking, I can't do this. Yeah. I can't do this. Yeah. I have to let him go. Yeah. 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 That was the other thing about being in the center for me. It didn't matter anymore. Yeah. What other people were doing. It's like, okay, I'll handle it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can transcend. Because being in your center has to do with your influence over your reality. And as you said, your connection to your source. You feel it more strongly when you're there. Yeah. And the way that some people will tell me that they know they've fallen out of zero is they can't feel that connection anymore. They're like, where to go? Where to go? And I'm like, just pull yourself back into your center. It's funny. We were on our trip to Scotland, and there was a participant who was there who has a history of epileptic seizure. And she was going through something which was intense for her, and she was going into a fit. And she laid down on the chiropractic table because she was going to receive a treatment from our amazing NSA chiropractor who was traveling with us. And she was going into it, but I could see she was out of her zero, and she was giving up her power. Like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Somebody has to save me. So I just leaned over to her and I said her name, and I said, pull yourself back into your center. You can do it. Pull yourself in. I watched her. We all watched her. She pulled herself back into her center and her seizures stopped. And I was like, because she came into her authority. She was like, no, I am in my center. I create my reality. And so the thing is, it was such a moving example because she had been so used to giving away her authority in her body a lot. Yeah. And so that was remarkable. So the thing is, I think a lot of people will sense, oh, I can't feel my connection. I start to feel like she did, like, a kind of shaky, not so good. Now, you might not symptomize it as a seizure. No. But life starts to feel like that. Like shaky. Chaos, drama. Whoa, what is going on? Time is going wonky. It's just like, I feel, and then you're like chasing and feeling more and more out of control. You start to spiral. Any of that stuff, you're not near zero. Yeah, no matter what's going on in the world around you, because a lot of folk will talk about, it's the human resonance, the solar flares, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is happening. Absolutely. Yes, it impacts, but if we are in our center, we can navigate it with grace. Yes. Right? Exactly. It's just like, okay, it's happening. I'll deal with it. Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing that I've noticed also when you stay in your center is that's when more of that magic and synchronicity and all that stuff that makes life really beautiful and in a delightful way, that's not anticipated, that's wonderful, and just kind of leaves you a little bit starry-eyed. That's when that can happen because you're in life. Yeah. You're not out here floating around, observing, maybe not even observing life, just out there doing whatever. No, it's not even an observer. It's so passive. Yeah. For me, the experience of it was so passive. Yeah. There was no effort required. Yeah. It was passive. There was no kind of... It was dead, even though, I felt like it was alive. Yeah. Because now I've got the comparison. Yeah. This is alive. Yes. Being in the body, like you said. And then all the little synchronicities, finish the sentence, Fiona. But at the same time, just being in the human body and sensing all the cells that are moving, the breath, the air, the wind against the body, it becomes delightful. Yes, absolutely. Just sipping a cup of tea. Or a cup of chocolate.
Cup of chocolate. You bring that cup and you hold it. Everything. Is it tactile? Is that what we call it?
Yeah, or sensual even.
Yeah, it becomes so sensual and so beautiful. And it sounds silly, and it sounds like I've been taking some mushrooms or something, but it really is.
It is kind of like that,
Yeah.
but you're not taking anything.
Not taking anything except just being fully present. I don't think if you told me this like 10 years ago, I would have believed you.
Yeah, you wouldn't have, you mean?
No, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah.
Did I not say that? Oops.
No.
Yeah. If you told me that 10 years ago, there's no way I would have went,
yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
You would have to be taking something.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people do the ayahuascas and the mushrooms and the whatevers, right? Because they want to feel, I'm guessing, that aliveness that we're inherently entitled to.
Yes.
But somehow we've gotten distortion.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of that, and the thing is, I just want to say for people, just as we get to this end, is that the higher your resonance, the more easy it is for you to be in your zero.
Oh, yeah. It gets easier.
Yeah. And I would say that faster when you're not in it. You're like, oh, whoa, this is not good.
Because it doesn't feel nice.
It feels terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It feels terrible. And then you're like, I need to get back into my center. And then that's why I give the tools I do. I'm like, you can do it. Yeah. This is not about codependency on Karen. This is about I can do this. Mm-hmm. I am the co-creator of my reality. I just need a tool and I will bring myself back into my center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing better than that. I mean, I don't think anybody that's floaty is going to be believing this straight away. Yeah. But just try it.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Just try it.
Yeah. Totally. Being centered in your body is critical in order to manifest more clearly, more quickly, and more effectively. But did you know that there's more to manifestation than most people are missing? Feeling or visualizing what you're wanting just isn't enough. To learn more about next level quantum manifestation and what most people are missing when they're trying to manifest, then click here to watch my next video. I'll see you there.